Hello children, welcome to our history session. This session will be discussing about the Union Executive. The Union Executive consists of the President, the Vice President, the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. Now we shall discuss about the President. Who is the present President of India? For His Excellency, he is Sri Ramnath Kovind. Now let's come to know how is the President elected. The President is elected by an electoral college consist of the MLAs and MPs. The elected members of both the houses of the Parliament, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and the elected members of Legislative Assembly of all states. What are the qualifications to become the President of India? Must be a citizen of India, must attain the age of 35 and above, must be a mentally sound person, must not hold office of profit under any government, must be qualified to become the member of Lok Sabha. These are the qualifications. How can the President remove from the office? By a constitutional procedure called impeachment, or the President office can fall vacant under such situation, like for example, expiration of the term 5 years. What is the term of the President? 5 years. On the death of the President, resignation, impeachment, etc. What do you mean by impeachment? It is a constitutional procedure through which the President is removed from the office. Now let's discuss the procedure of the impeachment. Resolution to impeach the President can be originated in either of the house. Where it is originated, there it has to be passed by 2/3 majority. Then it is sent to the other house for investigation, where the President can meet the charges or may be defended by a counsel. If it is sustained by 2/3 majority in the other house, then the impeachment succeeds and the President has to remove from the office from the date of the resolution passed. Now let's discuss the powers and functions of the President. Executive power. He is the executive head of India or the constitutional head of India. All the executive orders are issued in the name of the President. The President appoints the Prime Minister and the President appoints the Council of Ministers and the advice of the Prime Minister. All the high dignitaries like Comptroller and Auditor General, judges of the Supreme Court, High Court, governors are all appointed by the President. Judges of the Supreme Court, High Court, I said, they are appointed by the President. Military power. President is the Supreme Commander of the Defense Forces. All important treaties are made in the name of the President. Next is judicial power or the legal power. President has power to give pardon in case of punishment given by a court martial or in case of all death sentence. No criminal proceedings can be instituted against the President during the term of his office. Neither he is answerable to any court of law. Financial power. The President announces the annual budget before the joint sitting every year. All money bills are introduced in the House before the recommendation of the President. That means, first of all, it needs recommendation of the President, then it will be introduced in the House. The contingency fund is at the disposal of the President, of which enables the President to advance money in case of unforeseen expenditure. Judicial power, I said, or the legal power, that's over. Emergency power. Emergency power. The President has power to issue 3 emergencies. What are the 3 emergencies? National emergency, that is Article 352. In case of war, aggression, armed rebellion. Then 356, that is state emergency or constitutional emergency. If constitutional machinery of the state fails, then the governor writes the President to have President rule in the state, that is state emergency. Then financial emergency, if there is a threat to the financial stability of the nation. That comes under Article 360. Okay. So, when these all happens in the state or in the nation, the president has power to declare emergency, national emergency or general emergency, state emergency or president rule in the state, and financial emergency. Okay. Discretionary power or the special power. If no single party or coalition of parties get clear majority in the Lok Sabha, then the president exercises his discretionary power to decide who should be the Prime Minister of India. Another point. Suppose vote of no confidence pass against the government. So here what happens? The Prime Minister, instead of giving resignation, asks the President to dissolve the House. But the President is not bound to act on the advice of the President that time. He may explore possibility for forming alternative government at the center. Okay. Emergency power and discretionary power. Finish. That is, another one is there, that is legislative power. The President has power to summon and prorogue the parliament. Summon means a formal speech before the meeting begins. Prorogue means to declare the session over and dissolve the Lok Sabha. No bill can become an act without the assent of the President. The President has power to declare ordinance. What is called ordinance? It is a temporary law which has the same force and effect like that of an act of the Parliament. The President has power to issue or promulgate ordinance during the recess of the House. It is a recess of the Parliament, or we can say when the Parliament is not in session. That is called ordinance. So this is all about President's power and function. Now let's come to know the Vice President. Who is the Vice President of India? Sri Venkaiah Naidu. Okay. How is? What are the qualifications to become the Vice President of India? Same qualifications, but he must be qualified to become the member of Rajya Sabha. So this criteria is little different. The rest all qualifications same. The Vice President is elected indirectly by the MPs only. That means elected members of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha take part in the vice presidential election. MLAs do not take part in the vice presidential election. What is the term of office of the vice president? Same 5 years. Okay. But he is removed by a resolution passed by Rajya Sabha and agreed by the Lok Sabha. No impeachment takes part. Okay. No impeachment instituted for the removal of the vice president. Okay. The Vice President act on behalf. What are the functions of the Vice President? If the President resigns, the Vice President acts on behalf of the President under the following situations, like the President if resigns, if the President dies or is impeached. So in that case, the Vice President is an ex officio chairman of the Rajya Sabha. He regulates the debates and proceedings of the House. The Vice President is entitled to cast vote in case of there is a tie. And in Lok Sabha also, the Speaker of the Lok Sabha is entitled to cast vote, which is called casting vote. Very clear. So this is all about the executives. The President of India, who is the constitutional or executive head of the country, and the Vice President of India. Next comes the real executive, the Prime Minister. Who is the Prime Minister of India now? Sri Narendra Damodar Das Modi. While the President is the nominal or the constitutional head, the Prime Minister is the real head. He is elected directly on the basis of universal adult franchise. Who seeks? The leader of the majority party who seeks majority seat in the Lok Sabha. The leader is invited by the President to be appointed as the Prime Minister and form the government. Now, here are the pictures I am showing. Jawaharlal Nehru was the first Prime Minister of India, followed by this all. There is a printing mistake. In place of a Prime Minister, it is written President. Okay, excuse. Now the Prime Minister appointment. How is the Prime Minister appointed? He is appointed by the The Prime Minister is appointed by the President of India, and other ministers are appointed by the President on the advice of the Prime Minister. What is the term of office of the Prime Minister? It's a 5 years, if not dissolved earlier. That means if a vote of no confidence pass against the government, against the minister, the whole ministry has to resign. So it is at the liberty of the Prime Minister to divide the ministers into 3 categories. What are the categories? Cabinet ministers. There, the senior ministers, 25 senior ministers who holding important portfolios. Next are the state ministers. They assist the senior ministers or the cabinet ministers. Then the deputy ministers, they are pretty junior ministers. If they are invited, they attend the meeting, and their work is to assist the state minister and the cabinet ministers. So these are the 3 categories of ministers. Now next is, what are the functions of the Prime Minister and the Cabinet Minister? The Prime Minister formulates the policies of the government. So Cabinet is the policy making body of the government. Decisions taken by the Cabinet Ministers are authenticated with the final say or signature of the Prime Minister. So the Prime Minister is the ex officio chairman of the Cabinet. The President makes all major appointments on the advice of the Prime Minister and the Cabinet. The Prime Minister coordinates the working of various departments and is a vital link between the President and the Cabinet. Whatever the decision is taken by the Cabinet, conveyed through the Prime Minister to the President. That means the Prime Minister is a link between the Cabinet and the President. The Prime Minister is a link. The Prime Minister distributes the portfolios or the subjects and assign duties to the ministers. The Prime Minister is the principal spokesman inside the Parliament. In case of any ugly situation, faced by the ministers, it is with the intervention of the Prime Minister who settles the matter. Next, So this is all about Cabinet, the Council of Ministers. We shall discuss about the Cabinet and the Council of Ministers. All Council of Ministers are not Cabinet Ministers, but all Cabinet Ministers are Council of Ministers. Cabinet Ministers, they meet very frequently, but the Council of Ministers, if required, they meet. If invited, they meet frequently. All the decisions are taken by the Cabinet. If required any advice from the other ministers, so like State Minister or the Deputy Ministers, they attend the meeting. They cannot attend meeting in their own ways. But the Cabinet Ministers can attend meeting according to their ways. So this is all about the executive.